In a previous video, I shared 5 ways that I try to deal with disruptive behavior in the classroom. That was part 1. If you haven't seen that, you can go back and find that on this channel. And today we'll look at the steps 6 through 9 for dealing with disruptive behavior that just doesn't want to go away. Anyway, hope you find some value in this. This one maybe goes without saying, you have to be firm. If you say you're going to do something, you have to do it. We can be caring and respectful, but we can let students know that if the behavior that we've talked to them about does not change, additional steps will need to be taken to resolve that behavior. That wording isn't meant to be threatening, but it is meant to be intentionally vague, to look a student in the eye and say, I need you to know that if this behavior doesn't change, if you keep disrupting your classmates, if you keep visiting during class, additional steps will need to be taken to resolve that. And you just leave them wondering what those additional steps are. We'll talk about that in number 7. Earlier in my teaching career and teaching life, I would jump right to 7. As soon as there was an issue where kids were visiting too much, I would just separate them. But what I found is that sometimes that behavior would just go wherever the student did. And so it doesn't do a lot of good to move Johnny from one desk to another, and he does the same thing there, and then you move him again. And so before I'll separate students, I want to give them a chance to grow into their role as a seminary student, help them understand some of these principles of gospel learning and edification. And so I like to try to keep people sitting where they're sitting. It should be said that I change my seating plan once a month. That's just what I do. Not every teacher does that, but every single month we rearrange where we sit. It sends kind of this message that at the end of the day, I kind of control your fate when it comes to where you sit in the class. Sometimes if there's just kind of a mild issue between two kids, I'm actually okay to just kind of let that play for a month, knowing that there's a few more days, it'll resolve itself. You got to be careful with that. Don't let time be the solution if it causes you to not address things that should be addressed. But if behaviors continue and I can tell now these two need to be separated, then I have no problem doing that. And again, the seating plan changes are just a regular part of our world. If using the eyes, stopping talking, directing questions, moving closer, talking to the student, being firm, separating kids, still doesn't resolve the behavior, then that's when I'll consult with parents or with priesthood leaders. And sometimes we jump from step 1 to step 8 very quickly. Other times it takes a little longer. I will give you this piece of advice that you need to have at least 2 of the 3 or 4 on board. A seminary student can have very unsupportive parents, and as long as the teacher and the student are on the same page in terms of a desire to have a good experience in seminary, you can work with that. You can have a student who doesn't want to be there, and as long as you've got a parent who's really committed and a teacher who's willing to work, the 2 of you can work together to try to bring that student along. The same goes with priesthood. If you are left as the only one who desires for this kid to have a positive experience, the kid has no interest in seminary. The parents are totally unsupportive and they don't care. You reach out to priesthood leaders and they shrug their shoulders. I would invite you to continue to love that kid, do your very best, but until one of those other individuals comes along, it is going to be an uphill battle. You'll have to link arms with the Lord, do the best you can, but you need a combination typically of any 2 of those or any other person working with you. You've got the student working with you. We can do something. You got the parents that are on side. We can do something. You have a very supportive priesthood leader or young men's or young women's leader. Now you can go somewhere. You're left totally alone, you and the Lord. I would hunker down until something changes. It may be very difficult to address that behavior or that disruption in a way that's going to bring about a significant change quickly. Number 9 is the last one for a reason. It's the last resort. I know some don't believe this should ever be on the list, but there sometimes comes a time when a student is better suited to learn in an environment that isn't your classroom. Maybe it works with another teacher, another combination of students. Maybe that's home study. But if day in, day out, the behavior of a student is disrupting the class in such a way that you're going to lose other kids, and they're going to kind of say, why am I even coming to seminary? Our teacher is totally unwilling to address this obvious problem with this particular student or with these students. Then in consultation with the parents, in consultation with priesthood, after some thought and prayer and exhausting every option, you may need to find another home for that student's gospel learning. But hey, before that, you have to have talked to the parents and priesthood. You have to have tried separating students. You've been firm. You've talked to them privately. You've moved closer. You've directed questions. You stopped talking. You use the eyes, and you're confident that that you're doing the very best you can to teach lessons in a way that's as engaging as possible and invites the Spirit, and you've got genuine love for those kids. I found that when I try to do these things, disruptive behaviors will always be part of the seminary classroom. They're an issue to be managed, not a problem to be solved. You got to look at it like mowing the grass, right? You go out there and it's grown over the last week, and you got to mow it again. You got to mow it again. You got to mow it again. This will never go away permanently. Year after year, a new crop of students comes in. You'll deal with a lot of the same behaviors, but these 9 things are one way that you can sharpen the blade on that mower and just continually try to deal with these things in a Christ-like way. Hope that helps. Let me know what you think. Things you agree with, things you disagree with. Put them in the comments for us to read. And any other questions that you hope that I can to try to address in the future, I'd love to hear them. Thanks so much. You guys are awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. You're a blessing in the lives of these kids. Thank you.